I don't believe you whatsoever. Tropic Thunder quotes. We can get the quotes, and then from there we can figure it out.
Oh no, it's not the opening scene. That's where he's blown up everyone in the jungle.
Yes.
That's what it is.
I said a detonator. I need some dudes who speak American, God damn it. He's making a fucking sweater here. I'm trying to put Tiger Bomb on this jungle's nuts. Okay, everyone has a drink. Everyone's ready to rock?
Yep.
Clink, clang, clink, clank.
Clink, clang. Clink, clink, clank.
Oh, I have to reach further for this camera this week. Hello, and welcome to Strange Happy Hour. I am one of your hosts, Brent the Jesterhead Metcalf, along to my right.
Handsome John.
That was good. And on to the left.
The dispatcher, Mark Plover.
We, of course, are coming to you this week, as we do each and every week, to discuss with you the nerdy video game news as well as the very cool, interesting tech news that happens out there in the world. However, of course, we don't have time to talk about everything, or else this show would be so long. We've already discussed in our pre-show Tropic Thunder and Marvel movies. We don't have time to talk about the fact that everything Nintendo announced in their mini direct, they had a mini direct this week. Can't talk about that, though I'm really excited about Shin Megami Tensei 3 HD. We don't have time to discuss the Nice America is dropping all the Danganronpa games from the PlayStation Store, so buy them now. That's right, I'm a nerd, and I'm telling you about it at this very moment. We also do not have time to discuss how Final Fantasy VII Remake's next part is entered full development. However, we do have time to discuss what we do on this very show each and every week as we gather together in our quarantine bunkers, what we like to call the important shit. It was really funny to watch you both flail like Magikarp. We're going to start with the dispatcher because
orchestrating your bullshit.
Oh, that was good too. I like that. We got to start with the dispatcher because apparently the end is nigh, and I think it's really important that we all know this.
Well, no, the end is nigh for I think it's a couple 100,000 of us that still participate in this game, and to me this is important to talk about because this is an important game to me. Okay. And Epic is ruining it just as I said they would like 8 months ago. Rocket League is going free to play. Not only that, for PC users, they're taking it off of Steam and making it only available through the Epic Game Store.
Yep.
Now there's a caveat there that our very own Jaeger pointed out to me, which is if you already have it on Steam, you will be able to continue to play it. However, we still don't know how long that'll be.
Yeah, actually,
there's a very good chance.
I don't know, because they can make it unavailable for you to download new, but there is a certain point where they can just say nope.
Well, and that's my point. Is for the time being,
will make a lot of people angry.
For the time being, if you already have it.
Yeah, well, so the thing is, they don't even talk about what's going to happen post free to play release because the quote in the article down in the description is, or in the document is, for anyone who purchased the game before the free version kicks off, Psyonix is offering a number of in-game rewards, including quote all Rocket League branded DLC released before free to play. But that's all they're talking about for people who already purchased the game on Steam. As far as they're saying it's straight up it's like when the free to play version of Rocket League launches, it will be moving from Steam to the Epic Game Store.
So it's not going to hurt them any. If anything, they just get some bonuses and they got to use Epic.
Well, the big question. The big question surrounds the fact that the game isn't currently free to play, which means people have invested into that game. Mm-hmm. So there are expansions, there's skins, there's all these things that you can purchase within the actual game. And of course, the dispatcher can discuss it because it's one of his favorite games that he likes to do in his leisure. So what do you do with that if you can't access Steam?
You still have it, right?
Oh yeah,
that's the question.
So that's the thing. The second part of the quote, literally in the information from Psyonix, is once Rocket League goes free to play, anyone who already owns it on the platform, including on any platform, including Steam, will be able to play the game with full support for future updates and features. However, the Steam version will no longer be available to download for new players.
Oh, okay. Oh, so for new players.
That's a Psyonix quote. Like that's from their post.
When it becomes free, it no longer is going to be on Steam.
Yeah.
But when you go to the Epic Store, you're still going to have your stuff, right? It's all going to transfer. You're going to get all this cool stuff.
Well, so that's the big thing that they were talking about as well is they're offering full cross-platform support. So they introduced a new thing a little while back called Rocket ID, which is the cross-platform login system, basically, like with Ubisoft games, for example, because you can download and play Ubisoft games from Uplay. You can download them and play them from Steam. You can play them from Epic Game Store or wherever, and it always has you sign into
consoles as well.
Right, but it has you sign into your Uplay account.
Yes.
Those don't count. It's okay.
We have Uplay accounts too.
Yeah. I got points. I got to use.
You can play Rocket League on a platform or on a console, but no. So you have Uplay sign-ins as well. So the difference is you get assigned a Rocket ID that's associated with that, so that you can use that for cross-platform play inside Rocket League's universe. Like I've been able to play games partied up with friends of mine who play on PS4, for example, using their Rocket ID and adding them as a friend using their Rocket ID, not necessarily with Steam.
Okay.
Even though that's the way that the game was originally built. So the benefit of cross-platform, the way that they're doing it now, is that using your Rocket ID, all of your items and your cars and whatever else you have will all be available cross-platform with that Rocket ID.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So
Sounds like they're doing it right.
yeah.
So Mark,
it's already got cross-platform play. Like the ability to carry that stuff over is nice.
Do you see a negative to this?
I was gonna say, why is the end deny?
So here's the thing is, and this was something that what was the game that came out recently that was complaining about free to play? Was it Rainbow? No, it wasn't Rainbow Six. Grand Theft Auto.
Oh yeah.
Grand Theft Auto started complaining because a ton of people started coming in and cheating. Like it became free to play, so a ton of people started getting in on the game. Now I don't think Rocket League has anywhere near the traction that Grand Theft Auto does.
Use a fake account, mod it, and then just keep
If
going.
you have the free and open availability to register with any account you want, well, that can turn anybody and everybody into whoever wants to come in and try to mod the game or who wants to manipulate it and that kind of thing. Now, this is going to expand the mod community a good bit, which is good. I mean, like with updates anyway, Psyonix is realizing that the mod community is definitely something to look at. There's a whole YouTube community too of guys who build custom maps and game modes and whatever else, however they want. But the problem is that for guys who want to exploit the system, at a certain point, to me, this is also the first sign that Epic is sort of losing interest in this game. They realize that they're not making enough money off of sales, whether it's item sales or whatever from it anymore. It may be approaching that threshold of breaking even, for example, or not making the profit margin that they want on it.
Though. Mm-hmm. So I think what they're really looking at it, in my opinion, not saying you're wrong, because you very well might be right, but for them trying to consolidate it into Epic Store and then go free to play is just them trying to get the extra little bit of lemon juice out of that rind.
Right, and
I think they see the community growing and they want to foster it and control it as much as possible.
I actually think it's the other way around. I think they see the community dwindling. And I think that the move to free-to-play is them trying to say, hey, anybody who didn't own it before and wants to try to play it now, we'll wring out the last bit of, profit we can of people who could potentially purchase items or could play the game and want to get involved in the community and whatnot. Like the esports community for it.
Stopped playing because there wasn't enough people playing. Now with the free-to-play, there will be, and there might be a whole slew of people coming back to it.
I think you'll see a spike. But you won't. I don't want to say you necessarily see people coming back to it because the people who would have already been there in the first place would have already bought the game. So for them, it doesn't matter. I think you'll see a spike of people who come in that never played the game before, see it out as free to play, and say, "All right, what the hell? I'll try it." Because of the way that the skill gap is in Rocket League now, I think that's going to tail off here in probably a few months.
So I find this really interesting because Epic is already making buku bucks on a free-to-play game that we all know very well, which is Fortnite. So when they purchased Psyonix, this was your fear. You've leveraged it on the show. We talked about it. and now it seems to be coming to fruition. I think the big thing is, do you not think that these developers are on board with this? Like, I mean, to me, it seems like a kind of a natural progression because, like we've said, it's 5 years in the making. Like, we already got this far. There's only so much they can do, one. And two, do you think that even if Epic has a say in this monetization model, does it not kind of make sense? Because Fortnite literally builds itself off of battle passes. Right. Like, I could easily see battle passes becoming a regularity here of, hey, you can play for free, do whatever you want, that's fine, or you can purchase this season pass for the next 2 months, and we have an event going on.
I mean, Rocket League does the same thing too, where you can purchase a season pass for that time frame and has an item purchase thing. They got rid of loot boxes, which is nice. Any loot boxes that you get are available, like loot box items anyway, are available for free now. Basically, you earn in-game credits to be able to. So
many people are probably pissed about that. I went through and spent 100 hours to get this one item out of a loot box.
Well, so the difference is the loot box now is you pay for the season pass, and then the upgrades path for the season pass, once you get past the predetermined stuff, like at level 100, everything beyond that is random.
Okay.
That would be the closest thing to the loot box I could really say anyway.
Division was doing that essentially, except for the random ending part, which seemed to work out pretty well. I didn't really care one way or another. Like, there were some interesting things to get along the way, which was kind of cool. It was something to look forward to every now and then. So
the difference is the way that Rocket League played this out is they just shifted where the randomness happens. So they moved to what they call a blueprint system. So instead, you randomly get issued blueprints from time to time, which is essentially the loot box element there. It's the RNG part of it. No different than you spending the money in the first place. You don't know what the odds are for that, by the way, because you haven't spent any money up to that point, so who cares? But you don't have to spend.
Senators won't be smart enough to figure out it's an RNGesus thing if it's not in a box.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and also if you say RNGesus, they're all for it.
Yeah, exactly. Praise him. No, but the other, like, you spend the money or the credit. You spend the money on the credits to then be able to unlock the blueprints, depending on what item it is. But the I don't know. Like, I think that their pricing model now that they've moved away from loot boxes anyway, because like people, like I was always willing to spend money on crates to try to open them and see what I got. It wasn't a huge deal. Plus, most of the stuff that I wanted, I got from season passes anyway. So it wasn't a huge impact to me, but I do understand the malicious nature anyway on the other side. But the problem is that also reduces their profit margin a good bit too. So I'm curious to see where the other side of it, like at this point, the game's matured enough, maybe enough people own it, to the point that there's nothing else for them to make off of game sales. So free to play is the next way to get people in for free to be able to purchase items like that, which I would get too. But the way that this looks to me is more like we're down into the like hundreds of thousands of people that play this sometimes in the evenings, as opposed to like Call of Duty numbers, which are in the millions, or GTA numbers, which still stay in the millions every now and then. It's still something that I think they either see this maturing to a point where it's either getting late enough that they either need to move to a free-to-play because they're not making enough money off sales and they're not getting enough traction of people coming in because of the paywall, or they're starting to see the end of it, one or the other. And so the latter of the two obviously terrifies me a little bit more, just because of how much I enjoy this type of game.
Of course,
there is nothing else like this in existence.
Well, no, it's a very unique game, and its predecessor was also incredibly unique and also very niche, right? Looking at Steam charts right now, it looks like over the past 30 days, 41,000 players are the average, with 72 being the peak. So I think you're right, but also I understand your fear. Right? Mm-hmm. It's a cherished thing that is really ingrained into your own gaming time. It's also part of your leisure, wind down. Yep. It's what you want at the end of the day. However, I think the one benefit of moving to a company like Epic is the fact that Epic doesn't have to worry about Rocket League making money. Realistically, they don't. Like, they have enough money coming in from all these other avenues that the reason why they purchase something like Rocket League is to get cachet. You don't buy Rocket League 5 years after the game launched to make money.
Right.
No. Nobody does. You buy it because gamers are pissed at you because your platform that you're trying to sell your games on is inefficient. It's not nearly as adequate as the competitor, but you have enough cash that you can give away free games. And what better way to do that than not just put it on PC, but allow everyone to have access to it. Right. So that way, whenever you load up Rocket League and they've added that new splash screen saying Epic Games, Psionic Games, whatever, your thoughts are, well, I mean, Rocket League's really cool, and I don't have to pay shit for it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the biggest benefit for people like me who continue to play is, well, my wait times to try to jump into a queue are going to get much lower, but...
All right, so tell me this. Is what they're offering to everybody that is transferring over from who've already bought the game, are they getting the equivalent to what they paid for the game in the add-ons that they're giving you?
So, I'm assuming you mean in the DLC that they're offering for free?
Well, not really. Well, all the DLC that would have been bought is going to be free with this. Like, it's all coming with it in the free-to-play. So if you had bought the DLC, that doesn't really count in the equation. What I'm talking about is the stuff that they're giving you as a bonus for have bought it previously and then coming over to the free-to-play side on the Epic Store to play the game. Is what they're giving you as the bonus for being a paid subscriber, essentially, equivalent to what they paid. Because, to be honest, that would be the part that makes me feel sour is, I played this game, I was in early, you're giving me some bonuses, but I paid a bunch of money to play this game, and now you're just giving it away, and it just feels dirty.
So what they just did anyway, or what they just ended anyway, was the 5-year anniversary special that they were just running basically for Rocket League, and they were running a ton of items basically that were top sellers over the course of however long this has been around. Aside from seasonal specials, certain seasonal specials you couldn't get, like Halloween specials from 3 years ago or something like that, but like bestseller items that Rocket League had it or like originally and doesn't offer anymore, they were offering special editions of those as part of the 5-year anniversary edition. Like the one moniker I bought was, or I didn't buy it, was used the in-game credits, but it was kind of cheap. But it's a tagline underneath your username that says "longtime fan." And then that's something I kind of wanted because like I've played Rocket League since it came out basically, and I wanted to sort of support it that way. But
so
the problem is for people who have,
when this free to play comes around.
What's that?
You gonna crush some noobs when this free to play comes around?
All matchmaking's based on skill, so probably not.
Also, Mark, I want you to know that I have owned the game as long as you have because I downloaded it on PS Plus when it came out on PlayStation on launch for free.
Wait, do you own it? Do you own it for the life of it?
I literally own it. Yeah, on PlayStation Plus. It came out on PlayStation Plus the month that it launched. It was a free game.
Interesting.
That's why in our Discord that we have for our private Discord for the episode, I actually sent over originally the PlayStation article because on PlayStation is where they made the announcement first, and then they released a bunch of press stuff to all these other outlets after the fact, and they talk about how like, hey, Rocket League has been with PlayStation since the beginning, since we were released for free on Plus. Here's what's happening. So
whenever you get to 469 hours, nice, like I have, then we can talk.
Let's do some math.
John, do math while Mark talks.
But that is 20 days. Consecutive. No sleeping. 19.5 days.
Well, that math happened a lot faster than I thought it would.
Yeah. But they're really not offering much else for people who have paid for the game. I think the 5-year anniversary was sort of their last hurrah before this changeover happened. And this is all sort of coming together for me, of course, but I think that was their last sort of hurrah for people who have paid for the game and been a part of it for 5 years, and it just crossed the 5-year anniversary, so it makes sense maybe for them to transition the game into a free-to-play to turn it into, I guess, whatever next generation they want to make it. Esports and the competitive play are going to be the only things really left for this game. I think that will sort of give it the next level or the continuation of notoriety. Short of them adding tons of new features. Like they put on special game modes that the community has come together and said, like, look, we really want to see these permanently, but they're still not offering them permanently.
Yeah.
So I think the pro scene and those special editions are really going to be the only thing that really propel this to keep it going, aside from the people like me who enjoy to just grind it, practice it, try to get a little bit better here and there because it's just something we enjoy to do.
Dude, Mark is for the love of the game.
I am for the love of this game, yeah.
So, to kind of summarize, because surprisingly enough, we've talked about this topic for nearly 20 minutes.
I didn't think we'd go this far with it, honestly.
I was looking at the timer, I was like, damn.
So they're making this free to play. It's going to be cross-platform, which I think they had already started, but now it's official. Like, it's cross-platform everywhere. They're seemingly not giving crazy benefits to people who've already been there, but the DLC will be available, and everything that you've had access to beforehand will transfer over because it's tied to your Rocket League ID, not to a platform ID.
Right.
Your fear seems to stem from the fact that it's Epic controlling it. Am I wrong?
Well, they're evil.
Yeah, my concern is from Epic control it. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a valid concern, right? I mean, Epic is a very large company that can axe anything at any goddamn moment they want.
Right.
Because they make enough money that they don't have to hold on to these things other than Fortnite and Unreal Engine.
Not everyone is evil, Brent.
I'm not saying that they're evil. I'm saying that his concern is valid.
Yeah,
they're evil.
I mean, they can do whatever they want. The difference is Steam is not a major publisher. They just host it. If Psyonix wanted to continue hosting it there, then it would continue to host there. That's not a big deal. But Epic could at any point say, we don't want to pay for the development of this game anymore, shut down Psyonix, shut down the game development, and close the game out completely and sell all the servers off. And that would be the end of it. Like, that would literally be it, And
I agree.
Yeah, but by the same token, any major company could do anything like that at any point with any game. So
it's a similar topic or similar discussion I was having with a couple of people when Microsoft went and bought a bunch of studios, including Double Fine, which is Double Fine's like a very specific kind of niche studio, but really, really well loved for the content they make. And people were freaking out, and I was like, listen, Double Fine wouldn't take the deal unless it was worth it for them, right? Psyonix wouldn't take the deal unless it made sense. Well, so if they took the deal, it's one of two things, right? Either they were hurting for money that badly that in order to survive, this is the only chance they have, in which case you don't have Rocket League. Or Epic gave them the terms that they were comfortable with so that they can make Rocket League on their own terms and they no longer have to worry about money.
Right. Well, and so here's, and I guess this may not be the right phrasing for it, just because of the way that I view it. It is kind of correct, but I will play the devil's advocate to some extent on this in saying, the benefit here and the only light that I see in this is that Psyonix is still branded as Psyonix.
Agreed.
They are not merged with Epic on this.
Absolutely, yeah.
They are still their own company. They still have made their own decisions on this. The difference is that I don't know if it's Epic or Psyonix in this that's really making that decision. It seems like it's Epic, but it could just be correlation, not necessarily causation.
Talent.
Well, that's the other thing I was going to point out is like I have personally, in my vast Twitter scrolls, have not seen anybody high up in Psyonix leaving or trying to jump ship. So it at this point in time, it seems like symbiosis. Not always the case. We've dealt with a lot in the month of July, let alone years past of just all this vile shit coming out about various companies. But until we have evidence to the contrary, it seems like Psyonix is pretty happy with this relationship. So hopefully the fans will also get what they want out of it as well.
Yep, that's my hope.
Yep. Mark, of course, will be here to update you on his feelings on Rocket League. You better believe we'll talk about it again on this show. Please let us know what you think about... Okay, this is a little creepy now. Back up. Back away from the camera. Please let us know what you think about Rocket League going free to play and how Psyonix is handling this along with Epic in the comments floating above his wine glass. Look at it. It's his encompassing his cute little nose. Anyways, time to move on to the next topic before he can say below. Oh, of course, Handsome John and I are tag teaming some Xbox topics, but Handsome John is going to go ahead and Thank you for that very you're such a piece of shit, Brett. You didn't even try. Shrug. That was great. We're gonna hit a plethora of smaller news to discuss before we go into the big July game showcase for Xbox. So take it away, Handsome John.
So we got a lot of little stuff, and then there's gonna be some big stuff. But I'm gonna handle the little stuff. And right now, Microsoft is ending production of Xbox One and Xbox One S All Digital Edition.
Baby, this one blindsided me.
Damn.
Really?
Because
I kind of expected it with the fact that, I mean, one, there's plenty of products already around. And on top, so they're going to want to sell whatever products are already available. And they got the new product hitting the line that they're hoping is going to sell above what their old consoles are. Whoever doesn't want to pay that price is going to buy up the other stuff. So they're not going to lose out on anything.
What's the Series X release date?
We don't know yet. We don't have it yet.
Oh, so that's right. I thought that was the one that got dropped, not PS5.
So supposedly it was supposed to be out in August. That was the rumor that they were aiming for that, but COVID threw it off. We don't have an official release date, nor will we get one on Thursday when they actually showcase the showcase. So this blindsided me for a number of reasons. One, I always thought the rumors of Lockhart, which is supposed to be the lighter weight, not nearly as heavy, computing power and cheaper version of the next gen, Lockhart was scrapped because Microsoft decided to change directions, which is, hey, all of our exclusives are going to run on every platform for the next couple years. That's just the way we're going to go. So I was convinced that they would scrap Xbox One S, Xbox One S all digital, and keep the X running. Yeah. But that did not happen.
Yeah, I figured the X was going to kind of be, like they were going to almost make it to be Lockhart. In a sense.
I've talked to you about this, John, and I understand your point, and I don't disagree with your point. But to me, it still feels a little bit of talking out of the side of your mouth when Phil Spencer says, hey, we want everyone to have the ability to play our games, and then you ramp down production of the cheaper version of these consoles that are available for people before you launch your new console.
Still wants you to buy the consoles that are going to be available. They're going to spend this money for you to want to come into this ecosystem. They're building an ecosystem. They want you a part of it. And yeah, if you already bought the consoles, this is like your last, hey, by the way, if you don't want the Series X and you want an Xbox, now's the time to get it.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest problem I have...
Not to mention, there's going to be a flood of used systems hitting the market when people go to upgrade
when
to
the new one comes out. That's true. X. That's fair. I think the big thing I have is that notoriously, like for the past couple months, similar to Switch, Xbox One X has had a problem being found, like to be bought. Like if you wanted to go buy one, it's kind of difficult to find. So it kind of bothers me that like, oh, by the way, we're stopping production when you still can't find one. It's like, wait. But if I wanted one and I haven't been able to find one for the past 2 months, now I'm just waiting for people to sell their used ones. That kind of sucks.
Drives the price up a little bit before Series X comes out.
That's true too.
When it comes to manufacturing law, I think they only have to support that console for 7 years from its original launch, which it's coming up to. So they're like, there's no reason to be making. No one really wants an Xbox X. They want either the S or the Gen X.
No. Because the X is the souped-up version of the S. Like, why would you not want the X? The S is...
It's like not buying the Pro.
I'm talking about the X-Bone to the X-Bone S to X-Bone Gen X.
So they have Xbox One, Xbox One S, Xbox One X, right?
Oh, I thought it was called Gen X for some reason.
They're discontinuing the Xbox S all digital and the Xbox One X. Yeah. But they're leaving the Xbox S to be around. So it's like,
why wouldn't you leave your high tier there?
Exactly, because even that high tier variation is still your cheaper version of the Series X.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I guess that's where I kind of conflict. Like, I get it. The S is cheaper. I swear to God, if they just come out and go, it's the Xbox Series S now and not the Xbox One S, I will lose my shit. I will lose it.
They're gonna start off slow. It's not Xbox S. It's actually Xbox L.
But I mean, it does make sense to ramp down, right? Like the Series X all digital didn't. It served a purpose. It no longer is necessary. We get it. Moving some of those resources, because even if you're talking about the fact that Microsoft isn't manufacturing themselves, they're pulling in parts from everywhere else and putting it into like one factory to create it. You still don't want to put resources into this box when your new console's right around the corner. I do understand that. It just felt a little... I personally felt like this is kind of like, hey, we want everyone to play our games. And by the way, we're canceling these things, and everyone should play our games.
Well, not only that, but it's only stopping the S digital edition. I think they're keeping the S going mainly for the people who want to be able to keep playing their games that have bought a hard disk.
Yeah.
Is the only thing I can think of is to not alienate them for some reason. I don't know.
I didn't see it in the article, but does it say when they're supposed to stop production?
No, it doesn't.
I was about to say, if you go to Xbox.com, it still lists the Xbox One X and Xbox One S all digital.
Because they still have product
on the website.
Usually,
from my understanding, it's going to happen
I
pretty
can imagine
quickly.
it's going to be soon, probably within the next month, maybe 2
Agreed.
tops.
I had to move my hair out of my face.
You guys keep going. I have a kitten at my feet that's trapped in this room right now. I need to let him out.
Oh, the little kitten.
Speaking of kitties, I'm just kidding. I
don't think Mark's going down there for a kitten.
What's he doing?
Let's be honest, John. He's taking a personal break.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know.
I saw him grab the lotion.
That's what he calls his dick, kitty.
I've got a kitten under there. I gotta let it out.
I got a kitten. I gotta let it out. Oh God, it's getting wily.
This episode's going to be so long. Nobody's going to watch this because we're 30 minutes in and we haven't even touched the showcase.
I know. I'm trying so hard, but we just keep nailing it. And I'm just like, dude, we spent 20 minutes on Rocket League. I was like, holy smack, dude. This is, I know it's important to Mark, so I was like, totally like, I get it. But at the same time, I'm like, wow, we spent 20 minutes on Rocket League. How long does it take on the check off again? Like, he was down to a few seconds. How is he not back? There
there we go.
What's up, buddy?
So proud of you. So proud of you.
You ready?
All right. Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Oh,
Moving on to the next.
Oh, we took a break for it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not really.
Well, I mean, not really. No, we just talked shit about you, but we can move on.
That's good. That's good.
So the bigger news, slightly bigger news, is that Xbox is adding Project xCloud to support Game Pass Ultimate Plan in September. But that also means that there's a bunch of other stuff that they did that they're trying to push Xbox Ultimate, Game Pass Ultimate, which is they're ending the 12-month subscription of Xbox Live Gold. You still have the month-long, the 6-month plan, but not the 12-month plan because they want you to get into this giant ecosystem, which I don't know if I totally agree with right now because there's some people who just don't want that. They play one game, that's what they want, and they don't want to have to worry about subscribing every 6 months now just to deal with it when you could have just got the 12-month rate. Which I find is kind of dirty.
Here's the play I see, right? What they're doing is that games with gold and Xbox Live Gold will disappear. They will no longer exist. However, you will subscribe as someone who wants to use the multiplayer online access on your Xbox to Game Pass. And that Game Pass will be Game Pass Ultimate, right? You'll pay the $15 a month. And that will be your Xbox Live. However, rather than giving away free games, because Microsoft has to sign contracts, they have to make sure money is made and transfers hands and all that stuff, they'll just have Game Pass for you. Because they're already spending money on Game Pass. Why continue to go with gold? It doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, right now, people are spending, the majority of them are probably spending this $60 a year. And this is going to push it to be $180 a year. They're going to get more bang for their buck for what all the... I mean, you have to remember, Halo Infinite is going to be available day one Game Pass. Gears of War, available day one Game Pass. I mean, they're investing a lot into this, and they need that investment back. So I don't necessarily disagree with this move. I just feel how they're doing it with taking out the 12-month subscription is a little cheap. I think naturally it would die out itself, and then you could just move along and do it. Doing it during a console generation swap just feels opportunistic.
Yeah,
and
I can see that.
That's why it just feels a little dirty. But with the Xbox xCloud merging with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate for $15 a month, play anywhere, mobile, any consoles, you have access to the library. It is a full package. It is almost nonsensical unless you're just not an avid gamer and you do only play 1 or 2 games a year to get involved into this system. Which is where I think they're saying, look, you don't really want this. You really want to go to this. But the problem is the people that aren't on that level don't necessarily need to be forced into it, and it just feels kind of bullish. But
I mean, I agree with your sense here. I think the biggest issue is that there was no communication. And we still don't really know what's happening other than the fact that they are canceling the 12 and they're including xCloud in here. And xCloud, for those who don't know, is the streaming service that allows you to stream games from your Xbox onto your phone or the xCloud library. So they haven't really confirmed this either, I don't think.
No. Because there's been a lot of stuff not confirmed. When it's going to be released, what is the availability price going to be the same for here and over there.
Yeah.
There's still, and granted, we've got an Xbox thing happening here in a couple of days, so it's going to be interesting to see what they say.
Absolutely.
Phil Spencer coming out and just, tweeting this out, talking about xCloud, all of a sudden being available with Game Pass Ultimate, just seemed kind of haphazard and like almost reactionary to something that happened with PlayStation. Like, hey, by the way.
It's super interesting to watch it happen because I do agree with you. Like you're saying, like happening in the midst of this console transition without any sort of input or insight or even like communication with your people seems a little off, right? Like, because I'm on the Xbox Game Pass site right now. I'm looking at how it works. And if I buy Game Pass Ultimate, it also includes gold for $9.99 a month. So I can spend $10 a month on Game Pass for my console, $10 a month for PC, which is on sale for $5 a month right now. Probably because I'm looking at it on a web browser on a PC.
Hold up, it is.
Yeah, and then you can get for the first month $1 and then $14.99 a month the Ultimate Game Pass, which allows you to play PC, Xbox, and gives you gold. Like it is a natural transition. I 100% see where they're going for it, but I the lack of communication feels dirty.
Yeah, and
because
that's where
they've been
I feel
doing
like
so
the tweet
good.
should have just been held off, and they should have had this upcoming event on Thursday to deliver this information, and everybody can have an explanation as to what they're doing and what their intentions are and why this makes sense for the consumer. Tell them why this makes sense for them instead of being a freaking dick and being like, no, I'm taking this away from you. And they're like, why? I'd be like, you'll find out later. It's like getting punished by your parents and you don't even know what you did, and then they let her tell you what you did, and then you're like, okay, well, that'd have been nice to know earlier. But
that's an interesting analogy. But I think ultimately what it comes down to is it feels like talking out the side of your mouth, right? You're espousing these virtues, these ideas of like, here's what we want to do. Here's the direction we're going. This is what we're doing because we're consumer friendly. And they have, like, Phil Spencer himself has been very upfront about that. We want to be the consumer friendly approach. We want to be the best deal in gaming you can find is on Xbox, hands down. And I totally understand and agree with him. Yeah. And I don't think Phil's a bad guy. I don't think anybody over there is trying to be nefarious, but it just feels like a misstep.
No, this feels like this has to work or this is done.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I definitely feel that.
A lot of, like, he's very, like, pushed out, laid back. Like, we're not competing with PlayStation. That's not really what this is about. And everybody's like, but you're selling a console. Yeah. Well, if other people buy that console, there's going to be less people buying that console, so you are competing. And it's like, but we're not. And I'm like,
yeah, that's not how that works.
But at the same time, like, I understand where he's saying, we don't want to compete with PlayStation. Who does? They're kicking everyone's ass. So instead, they're like, I'm going to figure out a way to find out my own part of the market. They can go over there and do their thing, but I just want this money. Leave me alone. And and then eventually they'll probably grow. And if Xbox would attribute, which they do, they've got a strong console coming out. The specs are
solid, right? I mean, we've talked about it before the show.
PS5, if not,
they're technically they're better.
Yeah, technically they are better, but
if you're talking about
PlayStation's
power,
got this accoutrement that apparently just we'll find out.
Yeah.
But with everything that they're doing with backwards compatibility that PlayStation isn't doing, everything that the ease of use and the systems that they're trying to use for this usability makes sense. It's consumer friendly, and we'll see exactly how Project xCloud reacts and works. Now we'll find out. There's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts, and we need to start seeing a whole lot of gameplay, and there's just so much that Xbox and PlayStation still both need to do. But
100%.
Yeah, you regular Xbox Game Pass users, you guys get lucky with your 6-month options and all that stuff. Us PC people only have a monthly option.
Yeah. 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
There is no 3-month, 6-month annual option.
Well, hold on. What if I join for $1? Let me join for $1 here. I love that we can do this stuff real time now.
I just tried to change my recurring billing cycle. Monthly is the only option available.
Oh, so yeah, once you're in, you're screwed, buddy.
See, and I don't understand that. It's again like, do they actually want you to be playing this on everything like that? Like, why? Like when I have a subscription, I want to set it and forget it. Yeah.
No, I mean this is the 4 PC version specifically, so it wouldn't surprise me too much. Go ahead, Brent.
I was going to say, I think the one reason why they're making this, I don't want to say convoluted because I don't think it's incredibly convoluted. You can figure out as you go on. But it seems to me like they're trying to make themselves the streaming service, right?
Yeah.
I truly think that while the Xbox Series X is a very big deal, I don't think anybody doesn't have a heart behind it and they're not trying to push it. I think their ultimate goal is beyond that, is because they want your ultimate Game Pass to be something that you just purchase, similar to your Netflix subscription. Yep. You forget about it, and that's how they make their money.
Not only that, but that's what Mixer was supposed to be an adjoining force to. It was supposed to be an all-in-one package that everybody showed up. I want to watch this game.
R.I.P.
Oh, you could literally buy this game while watching it. Oh, yeah, I'll definitely buy this game. Boom. You literally are just getting this giant ecosystem, this flow in.
Didn't Microsoft already try that strategy with the original release of the Xbox One? Oh, it's a media center and it's a gaming console and it's this and it's that, and
they tried to bundle the wrong things.
Where did that end up?
Well, to tell you the truth, that's not even what killed it. It was the DRM stuff that really freaking was the nail in the coffin, which people misunderstood, but it still wasn't clarified. Not enough by them to say, no, you guys aren't getting it.
I mean, technically, Sony has the same DRM protections. It's just for movies and whatnot.
Sony's is technically worse for games. Yeah. Because if you want to play a PlayStation game, like if I want to share my digital version of The Last of Us with John, I have to have him sign into his PS4 under my name, assign it to my main console so that he can play the game on his name.
Whereas Sony, just go ahead and listen to this. They're talking about how they cheat your system.
110%.
It's not a cheat. They made it this way. They just made it convoluted so people are like, screw it. I don't want to deal with this.
Correct. And so Xbox's was much nicer originally, but they dialed it back. The whole point was that you would have a family plan that you could put other people onto, and that you could share your games with multiple people. There was a max number of people you could share with, but it would be you would buy it on your own. However, the way they explained it was way off.
It sounded ruthless as God, we were both sitting there like, what are they doing?
I distinctly remember I was in the airport getting ready to get on an airplane, and I was streaming on my phone the Xbox conference. I was like, this is the dumbest thing in the world. This is your nail in your coffin. And then I went on to Twitter, and everyone was saying the same thing. And I was like, cool, I'm not alone. I'm getting on my flight. I'm leaving. And I should have done more research. I get it. But also, if they're trying to sell me this product, maybe explain it better. Because
but even the people that we would listen to, because like this is still like young and are like, we're starting to keep up with everything games. And this was a huge event. And then we had multiple people who were also kind of like not describing what was going on accurately because they didn't describe it the way that they should have. And to be honest, I don't think that they misspoke. I think they backpedaled. And
I mean, that's entirely possible too.
I think it was kind of like this. And I was like, I'm pretty sure everybody took it this way because you said it that way, but okay.
But I mean, to get back to the topic at hand, I do think that adding xCloud to the Ultimate Game Pass is great.
Yeah, huge
right.
Win.
You get the streaming ability on your phone and other products where you could stream from your console PC, or their library.
Consoles.
Yep, seems really cool. We'll find more in September because it's in closed beta right now. It'll be open to the public. Everyone who has Ultimate Game Pass in September.
To address the headline, I understand their move from 12 months to 6 months, but I don't necessarily agree with it.
Yeah. I think that's a fair way to put it.
That's the only one that was kind of like a nasty jab. Everything else is fine. Like, I mean, again, Xbox is doing what they said. They've been buying up developers. And another reason that they have been doing what they've been doing is they're becoming a software developer. They want to sell you software. That's what's making the money. And they're trying to get it in a digital fashion and keep as much money as possible. I mean, that's what Epic is doing. They made their own marketplace. Yep. They're making their own games. They're buying up developers and they're making these games and using their own engines. So, I mean, everybody's just trying to figure out a way to maximize profits with all of these games, with so many people being a part of this. And it's going to get down to the nitty gritty here soon. I think unfortunately, we're in a race to the bottom. We're only going to see a couple people making it out alive.
The hope is that the subscription model can actually sustain developers. I have very much been skeptical of it for quite some time, but maybe Microsoft can prove me wrong.
Same thing with Netflix. Like, everybody, you know.
And that's my fear, right? Is like, we know Netflix makes money, but they're also incredibly in debt because they continuously have to put themselves into debt to make money. Yeah, they're just doing it over and over again.
They're very stagnant in that respect.
Well, they have to keep borrowing money, getting investors involved too. And that's what's, they look healthy, but they're not.
Yeah.
And it's...
Yeah. So let us know what you think about the Xbox news. Normally, we would move on to a third topic. However, we're already 45 minutes into this show. And believe it or not, we record on Tuesday. The new topic will not be able to be discussed until Thursday. So we're going to do like a little mini episode. Mini may not be the proper terminology for that.
It's probably going to be just as long as this.
It will probably be just as long as this. Yeah. However, we're due to time, we're instead of putting it into 2 videos, I think we're just going to break these out into 2 separate videos. So
which is cool. We'll have Xbox and we'll do our endings.
Absolutely. Yeah. So please let us know what you think about the Xbox news this week. Of course, the end of the night being Rocket League going free to play on the Epic Store. I know, fine. But it's fun to use Mark's words. And the comments floating above me like an evil devil horn because I like to stir the pot. But now it's time for Last Call. Last call. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Of course, we have a couple of shout-outs here. Before we start that, we have to go through our own personal special guest we have at our home. I was drinking a nice little vodka and seltzer because, believe it or not, seltzer is very good for you. And on top of that, I also have a tiki mug here that has cucumber and lime-infused water. Hydration's really important. I know we don't talk about it a lot on the show because we prefer to talk about alcohol, but while you're drinking, you should hydrate.
Should I refer back to an episode, 1 or 2 weeks ago where I had pulled out my water bottle and you said, "We don't drink water on this podcast, you water drinking."
No, you shouldn't. And then, of course, I'm also drinking this Slane whiskey. If you've never had Slane whiskey, it's very delicious. It's an Irish whiskey in and of its own. It is a little bit of a bolder flavor than something like Jameson, which I still appreciate and love and enjoy. But Slane is $32 a bottle here in North Carolina. I highly recommend checking it out. This is the same size as the Jameson bottle.
Slane whiskey is good
for
mixing.
$3 more.
I think it's better mixing Slane than Jameson. If you're having straight, Jameson Black Barrel's the way to go. Not going to change my mind.
However, Jameson Black Barrel is how much?
$44 here.
$11 more than Slane whiskey.
Ooh, stop being a cheap
Some people are on a budget, man. Come on. That's why they're on Game Pass.
If you're on a budget, don't drink. Same people with cigarettes like, I can't afford anything. I'm like, why are you burning money then? But anyway.
Harsh truths from John Pettit. What are you drinking over there?
Oh, I'm drinking a Sycamore Caramel Macchiato Blonde beer. By the way, it is sickly sweet. At first, you're good. Bad. They should have made them into smaller cans, and it would have probably been a lot better.
Yeah.
And they very well might. I just grabbed a tall stack. It's good. It's really sweet. It wears on you quick. And it's what you expect. Super caramely, like got a little bit of the espresso taste to it. Not enough in my opinion. But
it has a tang to it that I just don't like.
It needed not to be a blonde ale.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they would have done the same process with a darker beer, it would have been much better. But because the blonde ale doesn't have enough to carry the characteristics that it needed to.
Yeah, do it in a stout or something like that to sort of add to the coffee flavor or something.
Well, too dark, and you don't get as much. Like there was a double chocolate stout that I had a while back that I was like, I'm just tasting tar. Like it is so dark, I'm tasting tar.
I think with the caramel flavor, that would have balanced out well, though. I think that would have come out nice and sweet.
Yeah, and again, it's not bad. It is finishable, but in a tall boy, it's a little much.
Fair. What about you there, dispatcher?
Well, I've had this a few times. We had this once amongst ourselves anyway. My favorite cab is the Robert Mondavi Bourbon Reserve.
Solid choice. Solid choice. Big fan.
God, I love it.
I can't drink red wine right now because the upstairs in my house where I record this podcast is rather hot, even with the AC on.
I've got a fan blowing on me.
Of course, we do have our Discord where you are more than welcome to join us in conversation. Again, on Thursday, we will be recording a special episode, but that's not the only time that there's ever like a special video game event. We tend to hop in there. I mean, today was a great example where I went back and forth with Tumbleweed, Jaeger, and a couple other people over and over again, talk about Xbox and their future and the console future in general. So please, if you love talking video games, you love talking technology, just hop in there. You will find some friends. I guarantee it.
Yep.
For the weekly deal,
a good friend, talk to Jaeger about Star Trek. He loves Star Trek.
He does love Star Trek. Yes, this will be real fun. I love this game. Weekly deals include a Daldelic.
What?
Entertainment bundle. Daldelic Entertainment.
My balls.
Daedalic.
Daedalic, thank you. John, shut the fuck up. Daedalic Entertainment is a video game company. The Humble Bundle includes a ton of their games. There's actually some really cool ones in here I did not quite expect because I had not heard of this company before, despite the fact I have played a few of their games. I am, of course, talking about Air, Memories of the Old, which I enjoyed quite a bit on PlayStation 4. But these are all available for the old PC. You get Ken Follett's The Pillars of Earth, Iron Dagger, The Suicide of Rachel Foster, Aritis, Lord of Dead, The Great Perhaps, Fire, A Year of Rain, and more. So once again, it is a typical Humble Bundle. $15 nets you all the games. The average, which currently is at $8.74, nets you a majority of them, and $1 nets you 3. You can pick whatever you want to support for a charity, but they also have a charity of choice picked automatically. I love Humble Bundle. I will espouse them every time we're on the show. Please, if any of these interest you, just purchase it. Even if it's just $15 and you don't have a PC, you're not going to play these games. You're buying games to support developers and giving to a good cause. Well worth the money. For some of the really cool ass shit that happened this week, there's a lot of cool ass shit that happened this week. They're all very small, but they are also available. You can watch Henry Cavill put together a PC in 5 minutes. He did not put together a PC in 5 minutes, but he has a video that's 5 minutes long. It is great. It is actually really, really, really good.
The memes for it are even better.
The memes are great, but I mean, like watching him in his bulky, like Witcher Superman exterior, just like trying to very cautiously put like pins in and all this.
Has to be just perfect.
I enjoy it quite a bit. There's also a great homage to Bloodborne in a Zelda-esque style 16-bit recreation of the game called Yarntown. This is really cool. There's some great videos on it. I highly recommend watching it. I love Zelda-esque games, so Bloodborne is also a fan of our fan. Oh my God! Wow. B. Scotch Dodson loves Bloodborne. Thank you. That's what I was trying to say. B. Scotch Dodson is a fan of Bloodborne. Also, the funniest thing in the world, which it makes sense, but I also would never expect this, is the Tsushima Tourist Board has partnered with Sucker Punch and Ghost of Tsushima. So you can go to because Tsushima is a real island off of Japan. You can go to their website and it has the history of it tied into some information about the game. And they're working together to bring people to come see Tsushima. So
that's
very cool.
All right.
Check it out. Highly recommend. And finally, our question of the week is, I'm hoping this is not too obtuse in the wording, but what is a space that you really want to see adapt or change with technology? And I don't mean technology in the sense of computers. I just mean in general, like a technology looking at it. And I have my own personal answer to this that comes from my professional space right now that I can go with if you need time to think.
Yeah, do that.
So I actually have 2 answers for this, but you can go ahead, Brent.
You can have mine.
I was going to say medical care. And I don't mean in the sense that we don't have enough technology in medical care, but how doctors communicate with pharmacies that communicate with hospitals is not good. Like it's if you do the research, it's truly not great. Like a pharmacist cannot communicate back with a doctor. So a doctor, you do e-prescriptions now. They can send that prescription to your pharmacist. The pharmacist can't respond back to the doctor. They have to call them directly. Like there aren't platforms that allow that. The pharmacist also doesn't have a direct line of communication with that doctor. They have to call the actual practice to make that work. And there may be examples that I have missed. I've done some very cursory research on this. But it is surprising to me when we live in this world of 2020 where we are able to sit here and stream this podcast together very quickly and easily on a Tuesday evening, and that a pharmacist can't simply respond back to a message from a doctor and just go, hey, what about this? Because they have these allergies.
So can I say that this is exactly what Google tried to do and then faced public backlash for it?
Really?
Google Health is a platform where a lot of companies a lot of private health companies anyway, have been trying to implement their medical records in a centralized platform for everyone to be able to use. Google Health has been offered for free to any organization that wants to join it to be able to maintain medical records and to be able to make it portable with accounts and tie it to you personally. But the problem is that privacy concerns came into play because, of course, it's Google. So the issue is fair. That the technology to be able to let pharmacists and doctors talk together, or to be able to look at your medical records jointly in an open platform or something like that, is available. The option's there. The issue is that nobody wants to do it because of public issue with it.
Yeah. Was this before or after Google Home?
Long after.
Okay, so they let them in their home with microphones, but they all of a sudden have a problem.
Yeah, but they won't allow them
medical records. Yeah, this was a much bigger issue.
Good point. That's funny.
But now the communication tool may not specifically be there, but this is something Google wants to implement, is connectivity for this. You to have your own portability, for your own medical records, but the ability for your doctor to see them, and a secondary doctor, and your dentist, and your pharmacist.
Which is true, because
and
when
whoever,
I went to a doctor and had to go to another one, they're like, "Oh, you need to pay so much per copy," and I'm like, "No, just give me my files. I already paid for those."
Because you have to have paper.
No, we need to keep these here, and I'm like, "Well, then make a copy and give it to me." But I'm not paying you 50 cents a sheet. Eat me.
Yeah. There's a big communication gap between just practitioners, and that is something that the government has now changed. There's actually legislation that has already come into play. They're saying that you have to make this data available across the board. However, there's no one who knows how to do it because they all have different endpoints for various APIs.
And that's the thing, without an open organization coming in to make that available in an open format that's secure and encrypted properly and transmittable, Google Health is realistically, to me, the best option, because with even the companies that are out there that provide services to maintain medical records and to manage prescriptions and to manage communication about you as an individual between your multiple doctors and your health records and whatnot, the problem is those companies are only sectioned off to the clients that they work with, which are your health providers. So you can have a small health company that may not use a large brand name, like Epic, for example, is a big name in health record providers. Epic may not work for a small company or a small private health firm or a small private practice because they don't have the money to afford Epic, for an integration. But by the same token, Epic may also not move your records between that particular company or that particular practice and like a larger one, like, for example, with North Carolina, like Carolina Health System or Novant. Like, they're not interchangeable necessarily.
So I will say that, again, the legislation is forcing these various people, like you're talking about Epic, Novant, all these people to communicate. However, the problem is there's no time frame on it.
Yeah. So this is where Google kind of came into play, and the issue that people had with it is that Google was getting records from some of the health providers without the patient's consent. Under
that's
HIPAA,
a HIPAA violation.
No, under HIPAA that's allowed.
Correct.
Because the exception with HIPAA is that if it's for the betterment of the patient and or patients as a whole, that is allowed.
As long as you can prove that there's no data breach to that patient and it's for the betterment of the patient, it's fine.
Right. Okay.
That's where people have a problem, though, is that because they're not being informed of their data being moved.
Yeah, that is a problem with me. So I would have told them no too. So.
I think Google took the wrong approach here. But the thing is that that kind of technology for like your pharmacist and your doctor and your dentist and your eye doctor and whoever else to see all of your medical records in one joint place.
It would be nice.
Technically exists. Yeah. It's just that people have a problem with it to some extent because of the approach that certain companies have made with it. So it's not something you see broadly.
Fair. What about you, John? Do you have your idea or?
Yeah, just I want a Roomba lawnmower. I know they exist. I just want one.
Fair enough. What about you there, dispatcher?
Okay. Wow. All right.
Roomba
just for the
lawnmower
summer. I'll mow it myself the rest of the time. Just for the summer.
So the very first space is VR. I think VR in a regular space has, and actually I wouldn't even maybe restrict it to VR. I would say more AR than anything. It has a much bigger use space. I think having a VR headset that plants you in sort of an AR space, like, and this is like a small feature of it, but it's something that would matter a lot to me, is having the ability for multiple monitors that I can virtually place in one place to make my workspace as customizable as possible. This was something that was talked about before VR was even a thing.
Yeah.
But we still haven't seen it come to fruition in an average space. And I get that a lot of monitor companies start to lose business as a result of this, but to be honest, that's sort of the next level progression of this.
I was going to say, you may be a monitor company that loses business if you're not on top of this, but if you are the next company who is ready for this adaptation.
Like if the LGs and the Samsungs and the Acers and the BenQs, I'm literally just looking around at brand names on monitors here. Like if they jumped into the VR space to make something like this and decided to adapt, like Photos did, for example, when the era of digital photos came out.
Yep.
Kodak literally almost went out of business because they refused to get with the digital age on it. So
it's an inevitability, so don't fight it. You should join it.
Now, like my thing is, if they had jumped into this, they could make buku money off of offering a virtual office desk space where I don't physically have a monitor in front of me. I just plop a headset on, or an AR headset specifically on. And I've got a monitor here, and I've got a monitor here, and I've got like a tech monitor over here of what I don't really care about off to the side, and my primary work here, but Windows still runs on it just the same. Mm-hmm. That to me, for virtual office spaces, I think would be make the most sense. Yep. And to me, VR, I guess, either has to make an extra progression in that respect, or the market needs to change. Somebody needs to build something to make it happen. And it just hasn't happened yet, and I'm disappointed by that.
Without pressure, there won't be change.
But the second biggest one is transportation. And I mean that in all respects.
Personal helicopter to take you to work.
God damn right.
Private drones are supposed to be becoming a thing, but it's obviously a few years out before the FAA gives any kind of approval on that.
So many people are going to die.
Tesla's autopilot, I keep seeing more and more things about how great it is, but then I also see where the giant pitfalls are, that it's really not ready for full self-driving yet.
Yeah.
And I think Elon Musk just wants to push and push and push and push, and it's not ready yet, which is going to be an issue. Unless they flip a switch and magically it gets better because of AI learning or something, but I haven't seen anything to that indication. The other side of that, too, is non-car transportation, like train transportation. First off, like
trains, buses.
So here in Charlotte, we have CATS, Charlotte Area Transit System, which includes the different type of rail lines and bus lines. But I don't know where the buses and the trains are from the app. Mm-hmm. And the only thing I can do is purchase a ticket.
Yep. When's the last time you've been in Uptown?
Not that long ago.
It's a giant construction mess right now. They've literally got an entire road being dug up with train stuff. Like, things are going to be different.
You know what the joke acronym for UNC Charlotte was, or UNCC is, right?
No.
Under new construction constantly.
It really is. And it has been for like a decade.
That's good.
But like the expansion of the rail system, so we have the blue line that finally finished all the way, like that extends now from Ballantyne all the way up through University. We have the silver line that is supposed to be running from Belmont all the way down through Matthews.
Oh, wow.
We have the trolley system that's finally getting finished, that's supposed to run up and down Trade Street constantly. But then we also have a really integral bus system And the rail system, actually, the Blue Line, is something I use. Like if I'm coming to Uptown for a meeting and we want to do lunch or something like that, we generally take the Blue Line to go to Uptown, and then we go to get lunch somewhere in Uptown, and we walk to do that. But the app system for that still isn't very progressive. Like I can't see where the train is to know how many minutes it's going to be from there.
I've got an hour-long lunch. Am I waiting for you for 20 minutes of that?
Right. Like the idea is if I know, okay, the train is going to be at this station within 15 minutes. Well, I got 5 minutes to kill. I may as well sit here and do some work or something like that in the meantime. Mm-hmm. But I don't know that. So instead, I end up going to the station and waiting for 15 minutes because the train's suddenly running 5 minutes behind or whatever.
What you should do is create an app that says, "Where is the bus?" And everybody can just like update it. Oh yeah, I saw it over here. And it's like, so I know it's been here going in this direction at 5:15. It's going to be here in 20 minutes, like eventually, you know?
Yeah. And I get to some extent that also comes down to a private company coming in and making an integral system that's also affordable for the cities to integrate. But the cities themselves also don't integrate something that's anywhere near as usable.
Yeah.
So I like even Boston's system. I was actually really, really upset or really
about a subway system. Yeah, a subway system that's really well defined. It's been there for years, and even still, you don't have technology integrated in it. I completely understand.
I mean, when we were in Ireland, we learned the bus system in like 2 days, and we were fine.
Like the Charlie Pass in Boston, I still had to pay for a physical ticket to get printed. And you can't reload that physical ticket. So if there's any change left on it that's not enough to pay for your pass to get into the subway, you lose that. Yep. But I can't pay digitally with my phone to use NFC to try to pay for it or something.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. Get with the times. The technology is available. Do it.
We should be utilizing it.
Right.
The city will always fall behind.
Yeah. Please let us know what is a space that you would really want to see change or adapt with technology in the comments floating right on John's his right below his mustache on his beard.
That's my mouth.
Great.
Whatever his lips there, yeah.
Whatever. It's just below your lips too. Oh my God, there's the comment. But until next time, cheers.
Cheers.